Dr. Taylor Arnold here. Let's talk about food shaming, sugar addiction, and weight stigma. And these are all important topics that come up after I watched the snack episode of Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness on Netflix. So in a segment on sugar addiction, a research neuroscientist instructed Jonathan to bring an example of his daily food intake, which included coffee, salads, and Pop-Tarts, and Gushers. Now, the neuroscientist's immediate reaction was something like, oh, if you continue eating like that, you're going to have problems. And holy food shaming. It was actually really uncomfortable to watch, especially considering that Jonathan has talked openly about his struggles with disordered eating behavior and body image. Now, we have lots of research, I'll list some citations in the comments, showing that feelings of shame and guilt are associated with disordered eating and eating disorders. And we also know that shaming is not an effective way to drive behavior change, especially when it comes to food. While we do have some really convincing research to show that sugar may cause addictive effects in the brain, we don't have a complete scientific consensus on this yet. Many experts still call it theoretical, and we must acknowledge there are many differences between drug addiction and a possible sugar addiction. An Oreo is absolutely not equivalent to opiates, despite what these sensationalized media headlines might say. And one more thing that we also need to acknowledge here is the association of weight stigma to society's perception of sugar addiction. We have to be really careful to acknowledge that people in larger bodies are not inherently addicted to food, and unhealthy eating behaviors can happen to any person, not just those in larger bodies. There are absolutely negative health consequences of excessive sugar intake, but we cannot forget to include the negative health consequences of eating disorders and weight stigma in this discussion, because both of these can be deadly. Now, knowing that lots of young people really enjoy the content that Jonathan Van Ness produces, and they also might like the foods that he mentioned or that he enjoys too, I can't help but feel sad that these same young people might also feel shame for their food choices after watching this episode. So, if you have ever felt shamed about your food choices, I want you to know a few things. Number one, it is okay to enjoy sweet foods. That is normal human behavior. Number two, sweet foods can do good things for us too. They taste good, they can be an important part of our cultural experiences, and they can provide an opportunity to connect with our loved ones. Number three, if you're concerned about your sugar intake, focus on healing your relationship with food first. Think about all the awesome things you can add into your diet. Don't just focus on what you feel you should remove. Number four, if you feel out of control around foods or you frequently binge on foods, you might have an eating disorder. An eating disorder is a medical condition that requires medical intervention. Check out the National Eating Disorders Association for more resources, and I'll put a hotline in the comments. Don't navigate this alone. And last, weight stigma is a horrendous problem in medicine and science. If you have experienced weight stigma or food shaming, you do not deserve that. And if you have shamed someone else for their food choices, well, after watching this, hopefully you know better, so now you have an opportunity to do better. And Jonathan, if you happen to be watching this, I know you stand for inclusion, and I know you have spoken about body image and eating disorders before, and I did hear you mention healthy relationships with food at the end of the episode. So this is a great opportunity to continue this advocacy and help me to elevate the importance of a healthy relationship with food, especially in our young people, and especially during this National Nutrition Month. So there's my thoughts for you. Thanks for watching.